If I could, again, we're moving into the sort of shortage of time prevents us from going into sort of detailed analysis, but it is a pertinent question, and thank you. It comes from Fiona Hughes in London. And this is about, we've been talking about society, economic issues, social issues. She's talking about world peace. She writes, Fiona writes, thank you for your question. People talk about creating world peace, but I think you cannot create world peace without creating inner peace. Once you create inner peace in people, world peace will follow automatically. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that or challenge that. But she then also writes in to give a specific example through the Christian faith. She writes, Jesus promised to give his followers inner peace. He said, I'm leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart, and the peace I give, like the peace the world gives, so don't be troubled or afraid. That's from John 14:27. Similarly, most religions talk about giving peace. Does Islam have a similar concept? Azhar Sahib?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
You see, the very greeting of a Muslim is a guarantee, a wish, a program and platform for peace. It is based on the instruction of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that whenever a Muslim greets, he should greet with this beautiful expression to show what he stands for, or she stands for, what he aspires for, what he hopes for when he leaves this world, and what he wishes for the person he's greeting, whether it's individual or a group. And then further defines it, what does it mean in this as-salam? What is this peace? An attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of his glorious attributes, which means he is the source of peace. Thus, at the end of most of his prayers, when he would sit quiet, he would say this prayer, Allahumma anta salam, O Allah, you are the source of peace. Wa minka salam, and peace is from you. Tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram, and you are the most glorious and honored, and you are blessed for this glory and honor. So may we be, in a sense, one who adopts the attributes of God and be glorious and be honored and be peaceful people. So it's really interesting that if one would just focus on the very idea of what we say and what we do, what we claim to be.
Indeed.
I claim to be a Muslim. So did Hazrat Isa in many terms of the sense of this word. Allah in the Quran again says, Inna deen, the faith in the Allahi, in the sight of Allah, al-Islam. It's always been peace, always been al-Islam. It is not the monopoly of the Muslim world. It is not the patent of the Muslim world. It has in fact been the religion always taught by God, and has always been the source.
Peace is a central tenet.
God is the source of peace. He's always been teaching his messengers to be peaceful, to create a society of peace-loving people. Peace is of two natures here. And this is the key. Some think peace is just to go within yourself, to meditate and be at one with the universe, and that is enough peace. But the Holy Prophet defined a Muslim as one from whose hands and from whose tongue others are also at peace. So this is complete non-violence. This is harmonious living for not just the human beings, but every part of creation, to be at peace with that creation. So one has to love God, to be at peace with God, and to be at peace with God's creation. This is a true Muslim, to give that dual aspects of the word of peace, and not to be the source of any disorder or disruption on earth. Now, if this is true, we should be looking at a world of what now, 1.5 billion? Is a new figure they're giving of Muslims in the world?
Indeed, of Muslims, yes.
1.5 billion peace lovers in the world. Unfortunately, they have failed to understand the message. So they're fighting amongst themselves, they're creating groups to fight others, and going against the very concept of this Assalamu alaikum, or being a Muslim. This is the basic answer.
So the peace, and Tarsal, if I could just very briefly come to you on that. I mean, obviously it's this concept of salvation, inner peace, etc., which Fiona is talking about. Islam and peace, the acts that sometimes people see Muslims committing in the name of religion is far from peace.
Very much so. But I mean, it's obviously been beautifully described by Azhar that everyone in the world, this is a real desire, inner peace. But how do you attain that inner peace? And we see that if you run after the material things in life, you won't get inner peace. The richest person in the world is not really having inner peace. But whereas, as I said, the prophets, you look at the prophets, they are very contented, they're at peace with themselves. So to attain inner peace, the real secret is to turn to God, to submit to God, to put God first. And this is what, as it's been explained, is a Muslim, one who submits to God. So what actually happens is that instead of thinking of me, I want, give me, which is what most people do these days, now you should be thinking, what does God want? If I say something, is God pleased with that? If I do something, is God pleased with that? In other words, your whole focus changes from you to what God wants. That's when you start getting real peace. Now this is a wonderful thing, and we see, for instance, in fasting, that if I went a couple of hours without food, I will start becoming hungry.
Indeed.
But then suddenly, when the month of Ramadan comes, the whole month passes, and we go from dawn to dusk without food. How is it achieved? By changing your focus to what God wants. And you do it for God. And it's the same with everything. Once you get control of yourself, then you start finding real inner peace. And this is what the prophets taught. So this is the best example of how to attain inner peace. As has been mentioned here, looking at Jesus or any prophet, how did they get that inner peace? It's the relationship with God. Because at the end of the day, you've got a soul which is linked with God. We can't see this link. And it won't be showing up in any X-ray or anything like that. But it's like a mother and a baby. There's a link. You take the baby away from the mother, and now both are dissatisfied, and they start crying and so on and so forth. Once they come together, they're happy again.
Peace.
So when the soul comes and joins again with God, then you start finding that peace.
Matt this up very briefly, because we are running very short of time here, but peace.
We not only believe in peace, but we also promote peace, and this is the hallmark of Ahmadiyya Muslim community all over the world. The founder of the community more than 100 years ago started a system of interfaith dialogue, and he said that invite all the different faiths and their representatives on the same platform and talk about the beauties of the religion, talk about or highlight the commonalities of the religion and not the differences. And then you will see that when they are talking from their scriptures about the beauty of their religion on a certain topic, we will come closer, and we will respect one another. So Ahmadiyya community is, by the grace of Allah, promoting this all over the world. So we are not only saying this, our motto is love for all, hatred for none, but practically all over the world these kind of symposia are being held. So we encourage and invite the peace-loving Christian brothers and sisters to come forward and work with us, and we will all work for peace and against any kind of violence.
Jazakallah, thank you very much. Well, we're coming fast to the end of the program. For those of you wishing to comment on any of the issues raised today, indeed wishing to send in any questions, the email once again is faithmatters@mta.tv. That's faithmatters@mta.tv, and the fax number is 44 for the UK, 208 687 8037. All that remains for me is to thank my very distinguished panel, Azhar Hanif Sahib, Mehdi Sahib and Tahir Selbi Sahib. Jazakallah for your very scholarly contributions, and to thank you viewers for you listening to our program today. If the questions are there, as Fiona put to us, is inner peace to be found? Well, peace is to be found in Islam. The definition of Islam is submission, it's peace to the will of Allah. So to Fiona specifically, Assalamu alaikum, but to all our viewers, a very warm Assalamu alaikum until the next time from Faith Matters.